We are here with my favorite Liverpudlian. Is that right, Ted? That's it. Yes, you are. It's Liverpudlian. That's what you say, right?
Liverpudlian.
Yeah.
You said it in an American way, but I'll let you off.
You're a Scouser.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Just means you're from Liverpool, basically, and you're from like Irish, Scottish, Welsh, English descent, and your family goes back quite a bit in the Liverpool heritage line, I suppose.
That's a lot of descent in one. You know, it's just like, hey, if you're Irish, Scottish, English, Spanish, French, German descent, or like you gotta. I feel like you should pick one.
But
yeah. You don't. That's the whole point, because Scouse is a food, yes, and it's a mix of everything. Yeah, so it's like hot pots, yeah, and basically you're just a mix of everything, and that's
like
why
meatloaf.
you call it Scouser.
Meatloaf, yeah, too.
It's like
but
meatloaf.
He sounds very Beatles. Like if you listen to the Beatles talk, he has a very similar accent. I picked up on that when you first started hopping on the Tuesday calls, and then Paddy Pimblett, the UFC fighter.
Very Paddy Pimblett. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
like that's how I was like, oh, this guy sounds like exactly like that, and I knew he was from Liverpool. Hey, do you watch a guy named Beard Meets Food?
No.
I think he's also from Liverpool, but he's like a big YouTube guy, like that goes around the world doing like eating challenges at restaurants.
Oh yeah, that's quite big in America, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ted, are people from Liverpool like Jews? Where like Jay feels like if they're Jewish, he knows all of them. So are people from Liverpool the same? You just know everybody from Liverpool?
Well, yeah, he's got enough Jewish jokes to like know that. So a little bit, yeah. It's a strange one being like I was brought up in Liverpool, but I lived mainly just outside of Liverpool in a place called the Wirral, and all my family are from Liverpool. But the saying is you're not English, you're Scouse. So like we kind of like it's a bit. I suppose it's a bit like thinking that we live in our own country rather than living in the UK. That's the best way to describe it.
That's like the scene from was it Braveheart when the guy's like, "It's my island," the Irish guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but all the Scottish are like that as well, aren't they? You know, they're not part of. They don't like to be part of the UK. Neither do the Northern Irish, really. Everyone just basically hates England over here, and a bit like you guys will do on Saturday, won't you?
Yeah, we also don't want to be part of the UK, which is why we're celebrating 250 years of America on Saturday, Ted.
Dude, every time I hear like the Scots, like specifically, it's just like I go back to like in my first deployment ever, we were deployed to the Middle East, and we were doing like joint maritime operations with the British Royal Marine, but like they have a whole like there's Scots and everybody in there, and then one of the guys that we worked with on one of the boats, his name was Captain Speedy. So just imagine like this accent, but like a little harder, but like over a radio. So it's kind of like muffled like this, but he's got like a strong, and I'm just like, I could never understand what he was saying on the radio. And I'm just like, I don't fucking know what Speedy's talking about right now, dude. And every time I would see him, I was like, dude, you got to slow down on the radio. Like, I cannot understand what you're saying.
Well, this is the battle I have coaching where I am. It's like I'm like when I first moved down to Cornwall, my accent was so thick that like I was teaching classes to like the Cornish locals here, and they were just like, not a clue, mate, what you're saying, not a clue at all. Like, and I'd say hello and be nice to them, and they just stare back at me as if to say, "Who is this guy? What do you want me to do? What's that?" I was like, oh no.
Well, we have Ted on because he's absolutely crushing it at his affiliate. And well, one, I think it's because you show up to my Tuesday call every Tuesday. You're there. You weren't there today. For the
it
record,
didn't take long for Jay to take credit for Ted's success. I just
and then
we are T- 5 minutes into this, and Jay took credit.
Well, let me say, I appreciate when I told Ted and the Tuesday crew that I was doing some stand up. He put me on the spot and told me to do it. Remember, Ted? On the call? Yeah.
So, hey, yesterday was better. Good job.
Come on, give me some true feedback. Did you watch it?
Well, I didn't make it to the very end. I had to run out, but like
It's 5 minutes.
I watched it. The whole thing was what, 5 minutes?
It was like 6:10. Yeah, but yes.
Yeah, I think I watched like 4. I think I watched like 4 of it, and then the kids.
Was it
were yelling
better?
at me. Yeah. The pace was way better. Like you got like your first joke was in like 10 seconds.
Well, that was that was the most heard feedback. I know I heard it from you, but also the comedian that's going to be at Affiliate Con told me the same thing. So we came up with a joke to like immediately get a joke.
Yeah,
right?
Immediately get a joke, and then you played well off the crowd when the guy, you're just like, oh, this guy can talk about glory holes, but I can't talk about circumcision.
Right, the guy before me did a whole 5 minutes on glory holes, and he was clearly Jewish, for the record. Like, as soon as I met him, I'm like, oh, cool, like another Jewish comic. And then when I was like, any Jews, he was like silent. I was like, you're in the back somewhere. I know you're here.
I know you're here. I can smell you.
But he was good. But Ted, you attribute the success you've had with us and at the box to 2 things, right? And that's what we're going to talk about. But give us a quick intro on yourself. Where you were earlier, that you call it January 1st, 2026 versus where you are today, exactly halfway through the year.
January 2026. I'd basically just got back off like quite a long holiday from Australia and Bali, come home for December, and then started to attack the year basically. Kind of done the usual kind of sit down with your coaching team that you would do, come up with like plans and stuff like that, what our targets were and stuff, just kind of like normal business stuff as you think that you're doing in good practice. But just almost frustrated that I like didn't know how to take it to the next level, if you know what I mean. So over the course of like January and stuff, we didn't have 1 sign up in January, not 1, right? And it's been like that for a few years, to be fair. And then we had people like petering in over February time. And it was like, okay, it almost like eases the pressure, doesn't it? Like takes the cap off the bottle type of thing. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But it just wasn't happening quick enough for me. In the previous summer, we'd invested like £60,000 into like putting in a second floor, putting in like basically a second gym so that we could be open all day. And we had all these great plans, but just didn't know how to, well, I suppose I did think I knew how to kind of like get it to where I wanted it to be, but evidently not. And I just thought, I just basically just screwed everything up and was like, right, I'm starting again. And
well,
that's
a couple questions there, like, because I think this is important. And one is when you say the next level and what you wanted it to be, like, because I think every affiliate owner wants that, but like, what did you, in your mind, what did that look like? Like, you're like, hey, I want to go to the next level. That's like this weird nebulous thing. You're just like, I want to get better. I want to lose weight, but it's just like, but what does that mean? Like, did you have like a clear picture in your mind of like, this is what it'll look like. This is what it'll feel like. This is what it'll be doing.
Yeah. I remember when we had our call, you asked me a similar question, and I said to you I wanted it to feel buzzy, didn't I? And it was like, I felt like the atmosphere had gone. I felt like it had gone, even though we were bringing people in. The coaching was brilliant. It was almost like going to a fine dining restaurant, having an amazing dinner, but the service just wasn't quite there. And you're almost like, I don't care how good the food is, the service is shit, and like you probably don't go back. It wasn't quite that bad, but what I do is I visualize a lot as well. So like I always had this vision of the gym of being basically just busy, and the coaching to being to like a really high standard, and us having this great service, from like meet and greets to like, everyone's getting a goodbye on the way out, to being in a big social circle and having that whole marketing system like brilliant. So we've got like operations where people are coming in, they're going into kind of like a sales, and then they're like, we've got a retention system, we've got a marketing calendar, we've got a social calendar. But at the time, it was more or less just, I didn't know how to do that. So I had the visualization, and I knew what I wanted it to look like, but I just didn't know how to connect the two. Does that make sense? Like I used to visualize like queues of people coming out of the door, and I'd visualize like classes on both floors of the gym, and I'd visualize like I want the gym to be open all day and people have access codes to come in and out. You know, I even visualize people like doing, you know, putting up their stands and videoing their workouts and stuff. And I know it's going a bit fast forward, but we are at that point now, which is insane considering in January I used to walk across the road here for 45 minutes and visualize that all the time. So in January and February, that's when I just made the decision of being like, something's not quite right here. Like we're going around in circles and I need to make a drastic change. It wasn't like an egotistical thing where I was just kind of, you know, not wanting to do it. It was almost like I've had enough. I know the potential of what this can be. I know the potential of myself, and this is not it. And that's when, I mean, I've followed you guys for years, and that's when I kind of seen your post there, and I just reached out, and that's when we had the 15-minute call. I mean, we had a few calls, didn't we? And I spoke to Joel a couple of times as well. So it did take quite a lot of convincing because it was a huge risk at the time. Like money wasn't great at all. Like if anything, I couldn't afford it. So I was just a bit like, right, I'm just going to take the risk, and if I put everything into it that I know I can do, and if you guys do what you say you can do, then why wouldn't it work? So
you know, the what you bring up there is it's a pretty predictable cycle, which is you learn to break it, I think, like later once you've been through it enough times, but usually like the pain has to be so great for you to make a change that it almost feels too late. Like, and I've been in that situation many times where just like, I cannot deal with this anymore. And I think it's like a little bit of a trick, but it sounds like that you kind of learn to do it, or you're learning to do it now, which is like lower your threshold for pain. So don't make the threshold. And this is a tough one for CrossFitters because like we're addicted to pain. Like we like painful shit. And that superpower, I think in a lot of instances actually becomes a little bit of kryptonite because you're like, I'll just deal with so much pain that I will not ever be forced to change. And I think one of the things, I don't even remember where this might have been, like a Mark England discussion, but like learning to lower your tolerance for pain so that behavior change happens faster. Which is like, hey, I'm not going to wait till the building fucking burns down. Like, if I just don't like this now, that's enough pain for me to go into action and change whatever the behavior is. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. So it's like a weird, like it's inverse and it's like counterintuitive to what we do. It's just like, hey, I'm tough and I can deal with a lot of pain. But when you want to change behavior, you have to lower your pain tolerance in order to make change at a faster rate.
Yeah, I guess the analogy I would use is like for me, I have a threshold of like what is acceptable in the mirror, right? And it's like if you're like, hey, it's when I hit 300 pounds, it's like okay, like that's for me. It's like when I get 10 pounds overweight, I'm like, there's a crazy trigger in my head. I'm like, you got to get to work, like eat right, change your whatever. But same, yeah, you're absolutely right, Fern. Like if it also for many affiliate owners, if they wait too late, it's too late in the sense like it's like I have no money. The gym is on fire, right? So I think it's really cool, Ted, that, well, first question I want to hear is like, what prompted you to get on a call with Fern? Like, what was it a webinar and then he had a follow-up? Was it just a post that he put on social media? What was the impetus for a conversation with Fern and then how did that go?
It was an Instagram post and it was doing a free 15-minute call to assess your gym. So I was like, right, I need that. I need the assessment. I want to see what you've got to say, basically. As simple as that, really. It goes back a long way in terms of like almost like what you said, Fern, about like sticking with it. Do you know what I mean? Because I've always been one to kind of like, you know, work so hard that if I just work harder and harder and harder and harder, it'll just get better. Do you know what I mean? I know, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I let you. You've probably heard me talk about this, Ted, but like that is
Fern's love language.
Not anymore, right? Like
no, you are much better. You still will go into the pain cave of work, but not nearly like you used to.
Yeah, but I recognize it differently, and this was actually something that this was a Dave Robinson, when I was working with Dave Robinson on mindset stuff, and literally the same as you, Ted. When you kind of write out your stuff, like the common theme is hard work, hard work, hard work. I'll just work harder. Just like, hey, and if it doesn't work, the answer is more hard work, and I'll just continue to work harder and harder. And at the end of the call, he just asked me a question, and then we ended the call, and he goes, "Hey, what if it was easy?"
Oh, that's where this, I remember. Yeah, that's
where that came from. And because of, like, you know, growing up being an athlete in multi-sports, going into the military, like all these things, is like hard work is ingrained. But I've come to realize that, like, to some degree, I look back at that and it's like, that's the greatest lie ever told, that hard work will get you what you want. And I've said it many times, but the graveyard of entrepreneurship is riddled with people that worked hard and never got anywhere. You must work hard, but at some point that hard work has diminishing returns. Like, working harder is no longer the answer. And I joke with Jay a lot, but there's a tremendous amount of value, is that, like, there's much to be gained by being partnered with somebody who is lazy. And I say that jokingly. Like, Jay's not a lazy person. He works really, really hard. But Jay is not me, in the sense that, like, he will take the easy route much faster than I will. And the reality is, like, sometimes the easy route is the right route, right? Where I'm over here banging my head on the wall, and I'm like, we're going to get through the wall. And Jay's like, we could just walk around. Like, it'd be much easier if we just walked around, right?
I talk about that chapter 12 of this book, Best Hour of Their Day. How to be lazy and successful.
By the way, you're 10 pounds overweight in that picture. The
dude, I am. Look at my face. The difference. The same show. Oh no, different show.
Yeah,
Nate did not edit. Nate edited me fat in this picture. Yeah. I'm telling you.
But to your point, Ted, like, I think this is a trap that many of us fall into as affiliate owners, because our identities are centered on hard work. But then you have to come to understand that, like, it's cost of entry. It is not always the answer. Like, it has to be paired with smart work. And then, which really, I was listening to somebody the other day talking about, I don't remember who it was, but I've said this, I've thought this for years, that, like, CrossFitters are uniquely gifted at doing hard physical things. Mm-hmm. But that skill set does not necessarily, like, transfer broadly, meaning it doesn't necessarily mean I know how to do hard work that is mental only, or have hard conversations, or all of those things. Like, it's very narrowly focused.
Have you listened to the most recent podcast of Hormozy and Chris Williamson? It just came out yesterday.
That actually might be where it was from.
It was like
I was just passively listening to it in the background.
Yeah. And, you know, it's like, enough of this, like, ice bath, and I'm going to run a marathon. Like, as much as, like, that's challenging, it's like, that's not the hard work you actually need. Right. Like,
well, it's also not even hard anymore. It's like, you're doing it now because you like it, which then by definition makes it not hard.
Longer, or you're getting a reward.
Right.
Right. And no, that was, like, for me often, where it's like, I'm doing hard things. It's like, you're working out in the morning. Like, how hard is that? Right.
So I think I got caught in, like, the mindset of being like, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah. Well, so how has that changed? How has that changed for you?
Well, I don't anymore. If you know,
what do you do? Like, when you know, like, so give us an example.
Just don't do that anymore.
Something you would have been like, I'm gonna head down and grind, and now I do this.
Oh yeah, like, for example, like, if we lost coaches or anything, I'd just be like, doesn't matter. I'll just get up in the morning at 5 a.m. every single day, and I'll grind till 7:30 at night. That's fine by me. That wouldn't even phase my mind at all. And that falling in, and I know, like, speaking to other affiliate owners, that they fall into that trap as well, of having that as a backup. But that's not a backup. That's just, like, a short-term, like, bomb that's about to go off. Because, like, the amount of times I've reached burnout over the years, and then had to have, like, 2 days off and probably close the gym for a day, and then had to just go again is unbelievable. But going on to the mindset, like you said, Jace, is like, the one thing best I would have done is, especially, you know, credit to Steve, yourselves, Joel, the they've definitely switched me up from being proactive in terms of I'll do that to just hand it off, and this is how you evaluate it. Hand it off, and this is how you make them do the standard that you want. You know what I mean?
And here's what's funny is that most affiliate owners, if we were really to evaluate it, doing that is harder than doing a 2-hour workout. Like handing something off, letting somebody mess it up so that you can then provide the feedback so that they can then make the correction and then still mess it up after that is not something that affiliate owners are willing to deal with. Right? They're like, hey, I will just continue to suffer because I don't want to deal with that short-term pain.
Yeah, that nipping it in the bud is like, and I've been dying to do that for like 9 years, and within 2 months I've done it like 8 times, and it's just like results like that with your coaches and with your staff, and even with members. Like I said, we had to ask a member to leave about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and put it this way, I said this to me fiance the other day, I said, if this was in January, I'd have not asked them to leave. And the reason why is because I'd have been like, probably need his membership every month. But when you combine the fact that you've got operations knowing that every month you've got sales stuff, and you're like, well, next month I'll make more sales, and I'm working on retention, he was just bad blood. It makes it so much easier to just be like, I am 8. You can't really act like that in the gym. It's inappropriate. You know, here's the gym number down the road type of thing. And that those little nuances that like Joel and Steve and yourselves have give me to like use are like, oh, they're worth, just them there are worth their weight in gold. 100, especially for affiliate owner and a business owner, because that's the pressure. That those little bits are the pressure. It's not a case of running the class or paying the bills, really. Like, you know, it's more like the little bits that like grind you down day to day. I've got to speak to this member. I've got to go and address this with a coach. I've got to put these things in and stuff like that. And then, but when you've got the tools, and like, you know, best hour, have an incredible amount of tools for you to use, and you've got someone at the end of the phone or the end of Slack, it almost becomes easy. What if it was easy, as you said?
So
yeah, it doesn't always have to be hard.
Dig into that story for us. I haven't heard this. So you had a trouble member and you had a conversation.
Yeah, so Dion, and his name
Dion was the name.
Yeah, Dion. Yeah, he's a nice guy, as in like, you know, very nice to speak to face to face. But he was very rude to one of our coaches on a couple of occasions, and then he was rude to some members in the class, and some of the members in the class didn't like the way he was behaving and stuff. So at first, the coaches told me, so I addressed it with him face to face. Funnily enough, whilst he was washing my car, and
why was he washing your car?
Because he was unemployed, so he was like trying to get a few quid in. So I said to him, "You can wash my car if you want, and I'll give you 30 quid." And he was like, "Yeah, Sam." So, you know, just helping him out basically. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity for me to speak to him, so I spoke to him. Anyway, it just carried on. So he just carried on in the classes, being rude to people, being rude to the coaches and stuff. And then finally, it just kind of ended with a message from like a long-term, very valued, very honest member about what had happened, and it had to be nipped in the bud. Basically, it was more a case of his effect on everyone else rather than his actions. It was because his actions were just rude. They weren't like, you know, violent or anything like that. But the way the class was when he was in it, and because on our push press app, people can see whether you're in the class or not. People were telling me that they wouldn't come to class.
They're not going because he's there.
Yeah, if he's there. So as soon as you hear that type of thing, like I said to you, in January, I'd probably undernard it and been a bit like, I don't know, because, you know, we'll see if he becomes better and I'll have another word to him. But when you've got, like I said, the tools, and it almost brings your confidence up as well to do it, because the confidence is a big thing when you're doing stuff like that. to just be like, to just send a message or to speak to him on the phone and just nip it in the bud straight away. And that's just what happened, really.
Well, and to your point, now you're confident in that decision and doing it again in the future if needed. But you also recognize the behaviors and patterns beforehand. So that's a tough move. I know so many affiliators. I mean, Fern and I've had dozens, if not more, conversations like in that where it's like, do it. It's going to be scary. You're going to feel bad. And then tomorrow you're going to feel great. So nice job there. But you've talked about mindset and sales are really the two biggest improvements you made that had the most impact on the business. Tell us something you changed in your sales process.
Basically, I put in a sales process.
I did one.
I did one. Tell us how you change your classes. I wrote a lesson plan. It wasn't even a good one. I just wrote one.
I showed up to coach.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, so previously,
no, go on, I'm only messing. Yeah, I know what you mean. What we did is we always had people coming into the gym all the time. Like, as in, people would just randomly message. There was no type of reach out, or there was no type of process towards like getting people or marketing. It was almost like sitting on the fence and being like, "Do you want to come do some CrossFit?" No, you don't want to. No worries, don't worry about it. But now, and then when they would come in, like they would always more or less join. Like there was never ever an occasion where I would ever think back to and I'd be like, "Oh, they didn't join, or I thought they were going to join and they didn't." So it was always like they come in. So in terms of like our sales, I actually thought we were pretty good. And I think this is what I said to Fern as well. But the one thing we didn't have is that volume of people coming in. So we did have people coming in, but it was like one or two come in and then our churn would be too high each month, you know, when I think back to it. So some months should be plus, some months should be down. So what we just instilled was tracking everything each month. Like literally we track everything now. And also having that process of improving our onboarding, improving our value to a new member, and also not being afraid to actually go out and be like, "Do you want to come to the gym? Do you want to come and do some CrossFit?" Like, because beforehand it was almost a bit of an ego of being like, "No, I'm not going to go and ask people to come and do CrossFit." And now I'm like, why wouldn't you fucking ask people to do CrossFit?
Yeah, they don't know.
Do you know
like,
what I mean?
I'm not going to tell people about this business I'm running, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm going to hide away in this corner of Cornwall down here and be like, you know, "Don't come near me, and whoever does, yeah, I'll help you, but don't tell anyone else." So I was like, so basically the first job I done was off Joel's sales calls. I got business cards and I just went out and I was handing them out all the time. I bought 100, I dished them out in like a week, and then literally give them to every man and their dog. And just like, yeah, then people started coming in. And then at that time I was like, shit, don't know what to do with when they come in. So how do I handle like a lead? Didn't know how to handle a lead. Yeah. So it was like, okay, download the weekly lead flow. How do I, you know, on the best hour thing, speak to Steve, speak to Joel, speak to someone. And then a lot of Joel's, he uses a lot of Jeremy Minor, 7th level, doesn't he? And Claude and stuff like that. So basically just revamped our whole sales of being like, as soon as someone contacts us, we track it. This is how we approach that person. And we approach everything very, very personal, like very personal, from videos, from voice notes, from like funny pictures, to just to get that conversation going. And then we've always cared, like that's never been an issue. Like that's why we opened the gym. So I guess kind of the next step would just be the fact that our, you know, passion for caring, for helping people comes through on the next messages that we send out, because it's always about like them and helping them and how we can do them and what do they want from us and whether we're the right fit for them and whether they're the right fit for us.
Hey Fern, so we were talking yesterday. I like what Teddy just said. You know, we were saying how social media is kind of the window and it shows the world if your gym is open.
Yeah.
But I also think what Ted just said is very important, where it's like by doing all that personal stuff, it not only shows that we're open, but it's like, hey, we're also real people. Like the videos, like hey,
Yeah.
to a lead, I assume you're saying like, hey, you're going to show up and you're going to take a right in the parking lot and we'll be over
Yeah,
here. That type of stuff.
this exact discussion. So actually, well, before I do that, give them context on our discussion about like the when you were talking about the sandwich shop, and like give the analogy for
so
the social media so that people understand what we're talking about.
I often tell people like you just have to post consistently as a business. And I hate social media, etc. It's like this is what's showing people you're around, and if someone's trying to find your CrossFit or interested in joining a gym, they're probably looking at 3 to 5. Right. So who's posted more frequently, who looks like real people? And the analogy I gave was Roz and I were out of town and there was this store that she really wanted to go in. And she's like, it's closed. And like, I looked, I was like, it's open 100%, but it looked closed. Like it was dark. There weren't people. It's like, that's your social media. You may be open, but if you don't post, you looked closed to the naked eye. And then if you follow that up with like, hey, not only are we posting, but this is me, like I'm talking. And by the way, you could do that like super easy. Like it's nice to make a unique one. Hey, Ted, hey, Fern, hey, Christian, but you can also be like, hey, this is Ted, like, and then just send the same one every time if you wanted to, but it's so much better. And then
I actually picked that up off your thrust call.
Go on.
Just it wasn't any of the jokes, put it that way, but it was the video of, you know, hey, this is Ted, blah blah, welcome to Hail CrossFit. You know, like on my first thrust call, you told me that when someone signs up or when they're about to, or they've, you know, they're on the fence, just send them that video of being like a big welcome to the gym, and do it with your coaches in the background as well, or do it with the people in the background.
Make it look real, you know, like, and then when they come in, they're like, oh, that's the guy. And that's the other coach, right?
Yeah. Like to your point, Jay, like that analogy of like, I can't tell if that business is open. You're like, well, we'll just turn the lights on and it's a little bit more obvious.
It was crazy because it's real time.
And then I said, and then you posting and having an actual, like some sort of call to action, like join the gym, would be the equivalent of like that business owner walking out on the street and be like, hey, do you want a sandwich? And like, you just have to ask right now. And the reality is like, that's just doing that is not going to bring you a bunch of business, but it's the repetitive act of understanding how that is perceived and how you behave is what will end up driving business. And you brought up something else a minute ago, Ted, that is really important. And it's something I see, and it came up actually on a coaching call yesterday, not with you guys, but with our team, that I was walking everybody through about assumptions that get affiliate owners not in trouble, but that lend themselves to the wrong conclusions. And what I mean by that is, you were saying like, hey, well, if somebody came in, then they joined. And then the logical conclusion that you would come to, which would be perfectly normal, is that we're good at sales. If they come in, they join. And the reality is that's an incorrect but logical conclusion that you came to. It's like it makes sense and also doesn't make any sense at all.
It's like causation, not correlation type of thing.
Right. And so thinking about it, we're like, well, if they, you know, I'll make fun of affiliate owners here for a second because it's fun and we're worth making fun of. If they went to your website where they can't find the CTA, scrolled through it for 5 minutes to find the button that says fill out this waiver, fill that out, and then drove to your gym, you're talking about an incredibly high intent buyer now. Like, you're not good at sales. They had decided they wanted to do it and you just didn't get in their way enough for them to not buy. Right. So when we look at it and say, hey, listen, like this, and this whole discussion came about, like, to your point about tracking, we started tracking. The reason we track is not because like we like to track, like tracking sucks. It's not the behavior of tracking that we like. It's what the outcome of tracking can give you. So when I was walking everybody through, I said, hey, if you look at the funnel, I basically never look at the funnel past consult to conversion. Everybody converts well there. It's almost never the problem. So I said, hey, when we talk about conversion, our typical standard is 50%. I mean of the entire funnel. So 50 leads come through. I want to see at least 50% bottom of funnel. And I said, but the number everybody gives you is conversion from consults to new members. And I said, if they only gave you that number, you would come to the wrong conclusion about where to go next in order to solve their problem. Because they're gonna be like, well, you close at 80%. We're not going to close much higher than that. And I'm like, that's 80% of consults. The problem for almost every affiliate exists to the left of that if we're looking at a sales funnel. The leads come in. How fast did you get to them? Did you have a conversation? Did you book them in the funnel? So if you don't track all of those informations, you come up with the wrong conclusion. They were like, oh, I should, my sales is fine. I shouldn't focus on that. And I said, no, those people were going to buy. That doesn't mean you're good at sales.
That's like, as I know this is like a terrible analogy. Like I had sex with 100% of the women that were naked in bed with me. It's like, yeah, but you went on a
They were
lot
willing.
of dates that never got back. Like never made it that far. Right? It's like, yeah,
They were
like,
willing.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, Fern, like we had to deal with this in my gym at the beginning of the year, where it was a similar scenario where it's like, oh, we were closing people, but when we actually looked further down the funnel after conversion, we were getting people falling off at the 90-day mark, and then they were failing to engage, and we realized like, oh, we were closing them, but we weren't doing a good job of qualifying them, and we weren't doing a good job of like setting expectations of what they needed to do to be successful here. And so then that was like, oh, well, that means we stink at sales, even though we're actually converting people.
Yeah, it's into your like, it's just it's always interesting. Like usually the answers are fairly simple, not necessarily easy. It's like, hey, once we quantify it, I'm like, the problem is right there. Now there's about a dozen things we can do inside of that, you know. And I also want to highlight to everybody, like, nothing that we've been talking about that Ted has mentioned that he's doing is earth-shatteringly brilliant, by the way. It's just doing the basics really well and doing a lot of little things.
I am fuming you said that. I am fuming you've just said that.
Dude, Ted and I
you're not doing a
What
great
you
job.
mean?
Yeah.
What you mean?
Ted and I have been on Joel's sales calls like every week since we launched him this year. And every week I see Ted, he'll show up and he'll have like, I mean, just like you talked about, he's like, shows up where he's like, hey, I got this simple question. And Joel's like, just go hand out business cards. And then he comes back, he's like, dude, I handed out a ton of business cards and I got leads, but like now I don't know how to convert them. And he's like, cool, go do this. And it's like every week, Ted's just like, I got this question. Joel says, go do that. And Ted's like, I 100% did it. Which is like exactly like why you're.
He even mentioned about retail, didn't he? He said about buying a pallet of Fit Aid, but over here it's called Noco. So I bought a fucking pallet of Noco, and now we like sell Noco like it's going out of fashion. It's a strange. I think every affiliate owner would have a much better life in terms of running their affiliate if their sales process was nailed down, because I work on sales every day. Like whether I've got no leads or I've got leads, and having that day-to-day hour where I just do the leads and I'm just messaging people almost takes away like pressure. It takes away, it gives me relief in terms of the day, because I don't have to worry about anything else, because I'm like, well, I've got my sales done, and I just, like we do in CrossFit, trust the process.
Well, Fern, talk about like where's sales on the theoretical hierarchy.
Yeah, on the pyramid, it's the base, which is like, right. And again, it's not because sales is the most important thing. It's just because it creates the most stability. That's how pyramids are built, right?
Think about, the analogy is like, think of everything Ted just said, you can apply to fitness. It's like, well, if I just eat right, like everything else tends to fall into place. Cause it's like, I didn't get to work out, but I ate right. So I'm probably not going to get fat, right? My recovery is better. Cause it's like, yeah, if you got, I think the most important thing you said, to paraphrase, was just something like the stress disappears. When I know I've worked on the most important thing to my business, the stress disappears. It's like,
do you know what the biggest thing is that I sleep so much better. Like before, honestly, I'm not messing. Before I started to get in the sales, I never slept. You can ask my fiance, I'd be up every 2 hours, 3 hours. Now she can't get me up. No way. Because I'm sitting there going,
so think about this, right? We could bring this whole thing back full circle, which is sales for you was the hard thing. So going back to like, if I just do the actual hard thing for me, then suddenly my problems start to get resolved. But we spend so much time avoiding doing the hard thing. Everybody, nobody's immune to this. Every single person avoids doing hard stuff, right? I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to answer this email, like whatever. Like, listen, as somebody who basically has just come to recognize my life is just nothing but conflict. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like sometimes that's like, as a business owner or a leader, you just have to come to grips with the fact that like much of your responsibility is conflict. Right. But not bad conflict everywhere. Like that person wants to have a conversation about this. I need to have a conversation with this member or that coach, or I have to resolve this and have to build this and do that. But like once you would just address it, then you can move on, because if you don't address it, it doesn't go away. And in the back of your mind, it's still sitting there. It's still sitting in the back of your mind, and you're still thinking about it subconsciously, whether you know it or not, because you know that shit needs to get done. You're just not doing it.
You could switch out conflict for even communication, really, right? Like it doesn't have to have that. Not that it's negative. Like conflict isn't necessarily negative, but you could just say like much of our lives is like human interaction and how to communicate better. But and to the point about doing hard things, it's like, you know, whether it's like getting up early or whatever that hard thing is for you, having those talks, when you do it, like Ted said, you sleep better. Like you're like, I think you're just simply more proud and content with who you are. You're like, I did the hard things. And also like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, here's what I think is really behind this, and you tell me how you feel about this, Ted. But this is what we spend, and I spent the past several years trying to figure out, which is working on the right thing at the right time is the most important skill that you can develop as an entrepreneur. There's infinite amounts of work. There will never be lack of things for you to work on. And therein lies the problem. Decision fatigue, because many times we lack the discernment or the knowledge to say, on this list of 100 things, 97 of them actually don't matter. These are the 3 things that I need to do. And we continue to try to refine that, because what we've kind of figured out in this whole thing is just like less is more. Shocker, right? When it comes to, it's like, hey, you actually need to do less. Yes, we do need to do all of these 100 things, but don't solve problems you don't have yet, right? Yeah, that will be a problem later on down the road. If we do what we need to do today, we'll be more suited to deal with that problem when we get there, and we'll deal with it when we get there. But right now, do this. And most of that is us trying to solve for avoidance for affiliate owners. That's like probably the number one hurdle that we deal with is avoidance.
The one thing I did as well was I actually told like members what we were doing, you know, for best hour and stuff. And it's almost like they, like, you know, whilst I'm on here, I want to say a huge thank you to them all, because they've been so supportive in what we're doing, and also having a massive contribution towards the growth of the gym just through, like, you know, the referral scheme, for example. And, you know, every time we put out like a social thing every month that we're doing now, they're always asking what it is, you know, and they attend in great numbers and stuff like that. They always did previously, but sometimes it'd be up and down. But now it's like, I feel like a lot of them feel like they're on the ship with us to making the gym bigger, better, all the time. When we talk about, like, because people ask me about we got loads of new members, you know, how's this, how's that, and they take a real interest in it when you share it with them. I said that because I think a lot of affiliate owners wouldn't share what they're doing.
I was going to ask you that. Why do you think that is the case?
I think that's an ego thing. I think that's a pride thing. I think that, I mean, the one thing I've had to do is, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the most egotistical person anyway. I don't know. Other people will probably say different. But I think one of the biggest things that I've pushed to the side is just like a bit of pride and a bit of ego in terms of like keeping things to myself and just being like, guys, we're getting help with this. This is what we're doing. This is going to be better for us. And already, you know, since February, the end of March, the start of March, it's been exceptional. So when they're on their way, when they know what you're doing, I think when they're in a gym where they understand that there's direction in the business and it's being run properly and it's being run well, when it comes to stuff like, you know, price rises and stuff like that, I think they'll take that a lot easier and a lot better. Because I've already spoke to people about, like, you know, simple stuff like the price of coffee going up,
Yeah.
the price of a knocker or a Fit Aid going up, and now it's received with, yeah, I understand why that's going up, rather than last time it'd be like making a fuss that there's 50p on a coffee. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, nobody has to like it, but it is the reality of the world that we live in. Like, I took my kids to the movies the other day to see
Did
He-Man.
you see Toy Story?
No, we saw
Yeah,
He-Man.
Toy Story 5.
He-Man?
Yeah.
I heard Toy Story 5 was great though.
Madison saw it with my
But we took
father.
him to see He-Man, and dude, I took
How
him
much
in
was
the
it for the film?
afternoon. It was like $70
For 3 of you?
for 3 of us to get tickets, and then like, all right, let's get a drink. You want some popcorn? You want some Kit Kats or whatever? And I'm like, bro, this is more expensive than like dinner used to be. Just going to the movies, like doing that. I'm like, this is nuts.
Teddy, what's the candy at movies in England? What's the go-to?
Mine's a popcorn, defo sweet popcorn, and usually a beer or something.
Roz's. My wife is English. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I've not met her.
Good. I'm keeping her away. She's convinced, and I think it's true. Like, chocolate is different in England. And
well, it's not now because Mondelez have took over Cadbury's, and it's American chocolate. It's not. Nice.
We get these like whenever her friends or family come, like they bring like they're like crisp. They're like red and white. I forget what they're called. They're so good, but it's a different chocolate. It's so good. Anyway, so tell us. We've talked a lot about sales, which has bled into mindset, but you've mentioned Joel quite a few times. Joel Cochran, one of our amazing.
Never heard of him. One
of our amazing biz dev coaches will be presenting at AffiliateCon both on the VIP day and as well.
He'll also be on the podcast in 2 weeks.
Oh, and he's coming on the pod. What's been the biggest shift in your mindset? I mean, I think you've kind of alluded to it all, but can you summarize it? Whether it's tough conversations or what's been the biggest change for you?
The biggest change for me, I would say, in my mindset, I think it's what Fern said in keeping it simple and not working as hard as I should do, and then having to tell myself that doing less is more. I suppose that's the biggest shift. And going over like the mind, I'm on the mindset course as well, and just realizing when you're catching yourself doing stuff. Like I used to walk into the gym, and because I'm like a bit OCD, like I like everything to be in its place, wall balls facing out and all stuff like that, and I would always like recognize the negatives in the room rather than actually the positives, whereas I just completely flip that now. And as soon as you walk in, now I'm like looking for what one of the coaches has done correctly, or in the class I'm looking for the good points all the time. And then when it's like that, your mindset's so much better. And it also,
dude, that's a great point that you bring up. That's
a life right there.
But I mean, I've never even considered that. Like, I still do that. I walk in, I'm like, why is that over there on the floor? Why is that?
There's 99 dumbbells in place, but there's one.
Right, and there's one. Right? But like, that's a great point, and that probably applies to 100% of affiliate owners. They walk in and they immediately look at negative things instead of, listen, I walked in here the other day, and Bring a Friend week was last week, and like, I'm sure I walked in and saw something I didn't like. Probably, immediately I then looked over and I was like, oh, actually, I'll give myself a little. I drove in the parking lot and I was like, you know what? Every affiliate owner wants to drive into their parking lot and not be able to find a spot.
And you're like, it's because we have a crowded gym full of people,
and we have a million parking spots at our gym. Like Jay, you've been there. Like
massive lot.
The parking lot was full. This was like middle of the day, and I walked in. I was like, holy shit. Like there was people everywhere. I walked into one of the classes and I looked at it and I just like looked at Caleb and I was like, good luck, buddy. Good luck. Don't mess it up.
It's an Eric Preston quote. Catch someone in the act of doing good.
Doing good,
right? Yeah. And it's like the same thing. Like, we're all married or you're engaged, Ted. And it's like, it's very easy to find flaws in your significant other, right? Like, but it's very easy to find good stuff too, right? And it's like, what do you choose to focus on? So that's cool, Ted. Now,
how's that shifted just like your day to day? Because like you talked about, you're like, oh, I'm setting I caught myself making ego-based decisions. I'm sleeping better at night. So like, and now I'm walking to the gym, like looking for good things. Like, how's that just like changed your day to day on how you run the gym and how you feel, like your relationship with your gym?
A relationship with the gym? Yeah, like, sometimes I'll be honest, like sometimes you go in and you think, I used to think like, oh, like I don't really want to do that session or something, a lot because if it was burnout or want to have that person in my class. But if you flip it and instead of thinking that way, just think, what's the best possible thing I can get out of today or get out of the class or get out of this situation, then it almost just highlights what's in the room. It's a bit like, if you buy a Volkswagen, you see Volkswagens everywhere. So that's how it's changed. It's changed day to day as well. Like, going to making better choices is what I always say to people when they're doing nutrition, and that's what I do day to day now. Like, make better choices in terms of looking at the positive, from like looking at negative stuff and then addressing that and making that a big thing and just thinking about that. Now it's just a case of, as soon as I see it, I flip it. And I'm just like, what's the opposite to that, rather than just the negatives all the time. Yeah.
So with all this success, sometimes new problems arise, right? What are one or two things that you've now realized, oh, now that sales is getting better, or now that I'm coming in more positively, here are problems from either growing too fast or making changes?
Yeah, the problem we have, and I was going to address this with Steve or one of our small group calls this week, was that we've got to the point now, and I said to Fern in our 15-minute call actually, that I'd love the gym to have 2 classes running at the same time. So our problem now is we're at that point. We're at the point where...
What makes you say that? How many members are showing up at one time that you feel like you need 2?
Well, there's about, like in the 9:30, there's usually about 30 people.
Oh, wow.
But like probably like 3 or 4 times a week. Now, the other Friday there was 41, and like me and one of the coaches.
One class?
Damn, Ted,
yeah, in one class.
How many square feet do you have, or square meters?
Well done. So it's 8.5 meters wide by 30 meters long. So, but then we've got a second floor, which is the same.
It's not like an open second floor. It's like literally another floor.
Yeah, we put a mezzanine in. So, like, because we wanted to expand and take these steps, we put a mezzanine in. It's basically another gym, and
so you can run.
So yeah.
One here, you're going to run them on 2 different floors, the workout.
Yeah, we run one on the bottom floor, on the ground floor, and one on the first floor.
So that's about 7, like something to the tune of about 7,000 square feet each floor.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that's huge.
That's a lot of space. That's
yeah.
Great.
No, is there any issue with running class on the second floor as far as like dropping or anything?
Yeah, we can't drop heavy weights. We do crash mats.
So or you could do like, say you did a 9:30 standard CrossFit, you could have a 10 a.m. body weight only, or...
Well, we were going to do bodies with Jace. Remember that?
Wait, what?
Body by Jay.
Body built by Jay.
Yeah, body by Jay, dude.
I didn't understand. It was like one line.
That was your program, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Dude, you have a good memory, dude.
Yeah, so we do 2 classes. Yeah,
Ted, I don't know if you know this. Jay bought the first pair of rings from Rogue.
Yeah,
the
first pair of rings from Rogue ever.
Body by Jay. Jay at bodybyjay.com. I probably still gets forwarded to one of
the other thing you could play around with, Ted, is kind of similar to what they do at Louvre, is rotate the spaces. Meaning, I've not been to the space, but I don't know how easy it is to get from the first floor to the second floor. But like the actual workout can go down on the first floor, but the warm ups and the cool downs go down on the second floor. That way you could offset them by 30 minutes, and they would just rotate through potentially. I don't know if the logistics would support that, but that would be another.
Right, but essentially that way you're warming up where you don't need to drop anything, and then by the time that's a good idea.
So do they have 2 coaches as well? So one does the warm up and that, and then the other takes the workout.
Yeah, sometimes I'll have more than that, because like in certain instances, I believe they're running at some points like 4 concurrent class groups.
at the mastermind. Yeah.
like rolling through. So you have to have multiple coaches for that. And then I think they will build out coaches based on class size. So I think there's a threshold where they know that, like, hey, these classes are going to be about this big, so they'll have a secondary coach on the floor.
Yeah, so
But it's a really smooth operation. I've been there.
That's where I think where our bottleneck's coming now, because what it's doing is it's the two classes. It's not just the 9:30, it's the 6:30 in the morning as well now.
Mhm.
So because our sales have like skyrocketed, we're basically getting this influx of two, which the coaching staff. We have myself, Romy, who's our full-time coach, and then two part-time coaches. So my fiance Amy and another coach Lou, and they can only do certain like days per week because they're part-time. So now what it's doing is it's dragging me from doing what I have been doing in terms of sales, retention, marketing, all the business stuff onto the floor. Does that make sense? So now me coaching from like, let's say 3 weeks ago is almost doubled, because it's like I was probably doing like 1 day a week in terms of once Romy had come in full time, but now because of the two classes at the same time, that's looking like 3 days a week.
Yo, how cool
So
of a problem is that to have, Ted?
Yeah, it's amazing problem. I love it. I'll send you the video, but I'm dying to do a video of like me coaching one class and then have the video show the other class at the same time. I'm figuring out how to do it, but I'll do it. So,
well, that's a great next step to get to. That's all. I mean, that's a crazy big class that you're running. Nice job there.
yeah, it's tough, like, and Romy gets probably stressed sometimes, but like, you know, we do lesson plans, we organize it, we make sure that, you know, we're on it with like, you know, like if we've got like a lot of new people, we try and make sure that they sit in one class and, you know, a little bit more advanced in the other class, and then depending on equipment and stuff like that. So it does get a bit good stressy, I suppose. You know, it's positive. It's a good problem to have.
I think you guys know I've been bullish about this. I think that should be what we strive for. I think everybody should strive for packed classes.
Of course.
One, it's good for no, but I mean, like, but everybody's, you know, like, and COVID helped, but then there's a lot of other people that like, hey, you shouldn't have any more, you know, athletes than this in a class. I think it's all bullshit, honestly. I think it's a terrible business strategy, but more importantly, it's going to cap your coaching ability. If you never coach more than 12 people, you know what you can't coach? 13
people, yeah.
Right? Like, it's like you have to do those stretches, and all of us probably have some sort of like.
Do you remember when you guys did the you coached at when
at the games?
CrossFit Games had the affiliate.
It's 54 people in that class.
I think it was more, but it was like, and it was in a very small space too.
That was tops 3,000 square feet.
Anaton was there, Christian. He was in class with Brad Marshall.
How did you say it was, Fern?
It was at least 54. I remember the.
I thought it was over 60, but it was
not a small amount. Is the point?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll drop that video.
And strangers, for the record, like, no, we didn't really know them. Like, so we're
we did not really know them. We did not know them. Any of them, right? Like,
no, and it was. I remember it was deadlifting and assault bike, and I forget what the other. So it was like we're mitigating dumb things happening. Like,
so yeah, I think there's if you treat it like training, we would never tell you that you should not put more weight on the bar. Like, we're going to tell you shouldn't move like shit and you shouldn't move unsafely, but this is the whole technique and intensity lecture, which is like, okay, mistakes are not good, but what I learned from those is going to be good. And there's just certain skill sets you won't like. I'll give Caleb a shout out here. I forget, there was a day last week and I think there was like 30 people in the class, and one of the other coaches was in the class, and he grabbed me afterwards. He's like, dude, he pivoted on that and it was perfect. Like, he adjusted the workout, made it to a partner workout, and he was like, and it was actually better than what we had written. You don't get to develop that skill if you never stretch yourself as a coach, right? Now, do you want chaos? No, but sometimes chaos happens, and a true sign of a professional is somebody who can manage chaos, meaning like, hey, yeah, I know how to handle this. It's not ideal, but it's not going to throw the class into an upheaval in this scenario, because like, I know how to handle this. I've factored in what I'm going to do if we have more people than we have pieces of equipment, and I know how we're going to adjust the workout because I understand stimulus. But like, if you never force yourself to do that, you're just not going to be a very good coach long term. Like, would we like an ideal scenario? Sure. Okay, we live in the real world. Deal with it. You know.
And you're not
But like, you're just
suggesting
gonna be,
going from 12 to 54 tomorrow. For the record,
No.
no different than you wouldn't say go from 200 to 400 pounds tomorrow.
no. But to suggest that like a 54 person class is a bad class lacks a tremendous amount of context. Meaning, how would you make a 54 person class a good class? Rearrange the equipment, add a second coach on the floor. Like what? Like, I think people just like fail to just ask that simple question. I'm like, what version of a 54 person class would be good? Not just the automatic assumption that like that's a terrible class. I'm like, well, how about what would make it a good class? And then let's fucking do that.
Because I've been experimenting with this at my gym because we have a smaller space. We're like 20, probably 2,500 usable square feet. And so during particular holidays, like on January 1st, I'm like, I'm gonna have a 9 a.m. only.
Mhm.
And I want to see like how many people show up, and we're gonna like practice. I'm gonna practice what it's like to like have this many people in class. And we had like 35 people crammed in there, and it was fun and it was smooth. And I'm like, cool, like we can run this.
And that's a great
So,
opportunity, Christian, because no one's upset that it's a holiday and you have one class, right? And you
Mhm.
program smarter. And I can tell you, like, I remember vividly the class we coach. It's like so much fun for them. Like Anasan, who's a mutual friend of ours, like still talks about it, right? Brad still talks about Brad Marshall. We're still talking about it. Like it was fun for them. It was fun for us. We connected with people. So good stuff. Ted, what's next for you? What's next on the agenda?
Well, then the next step, I suppose, is to just dial in our operations and get a new coach. We're looking for a new coach. I'm actually interviewing another one. What day is it? Thursday. Yeah, to try and help with the pressure of the two classes. And I think from basically, what's the guy's name who does the budget with us? What's his name again?
It was Nick, but now Ricky and
Nick.
Ryan.
Or Ricky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Nick said to me, and Christian was on the call actually as well. Don't buy shiny things. So I'm basically not buying anything, if I'm being honest, because I love to buy new gear. And I think my next step is the next 6 months needs to be getting this fine-tuned, getting that new coach in, getting this running pretty, and making sure that we're consistently making sales each month and taking that. And then we've got all our year planned out. So it's just a case of executing it, I think, is the next step. I don't want to go too far ahead and get ahead of myself. Keep myself humble and just be like, you've had a good 3 months. Let's take July as it is, because July starts at 0 and we go from there. So I'm just taking it 1 month at a time at the minute, and I'm feeling really grateful for all your guys' help. And, thank you to everyone at Best Hour for everything that you have helped me with, as well as all our members for being incredible. So yeah, I think that's our next step, if I'm being honest. Just take it month by month and see where we are this time next year, and then maybe we assess from there.
Ted, what are you guys doing this weekend for 4th of July?
I haven't thought that far ahead, if I'm being honest.
Celebrating American independence, Ted, 250 years.
Well,
Yeah.
I could say, Ted, we appreciate hearing the kind words, and Steve, Joel, and all the rest of the team that's gotten a shout out. But you are also fun to work with. You show up on the Tuesday calls, which the day you showed up for the first time, you and I clicked. And Fern has said this for 7 years now. It's showing up on calls regularly and having a budget. And you're doing both of those things exceptionally well. So it comes to no surprise that you're crushing it, throwing a good attitude, throwing some of the mindset work. We have 2 full mindset courses within Affiliate U, both led by Joel Cochran, and you're doing all the things. Like it's really, really awesome to see.
Yeah,
dude,
thank you.
It's fun to watch, dude. You're super coachable, and I think that's what everybody just dreams of. It's just like working with people that want to work hard and do the thing. So keep doing what you're doing, dude. It's been a pleasure kind of like watching from afar as you do what you do. And I think you're setting a great example for affiliates out there of just like, hey, this is what it should look like. So keep it up, dude.
Are you coming to Affiliate Con?
I would love to come to Affiliate Con.
Good. Put in the budget. We'll talk to Ricky Ryan, October 16th. You got to be there. You
Well, that's my birthday's the 5th.
of
So-
October.
We'll celebrate your birthday. We'll give you a shout out on
Yep.
stage.
I tell you what, you show up and if you tell us you're coming ahead of time, there will be a cake. What you English? What do you like? Pudding? What do you want? Pudding? You show up, I will make sure there's a cake for your birthday. Deal?
Okay, yeah. Fit when? What date in October?
The 15th,
16th,
Friday the
16th,
15th, I think, and then the 16th. You want to come in Thursday because we have a awesome VIP day on Friday.
Is it if I pay to fly over, is it free?
I don't think that's how it works. Fern, push that to you. I push that to Fern. No, I'll tell you what. We'll get you a discount code because you're spending a lot. But there are tickets. There are tickets. Fern,
I'll give you legacy pricing, Ted.
Ooh,
Okay, yeah, sweet.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds.
I'll get
Yeah,
with you.
not,
Ted.
it's not
What do you
shocking
know?
to me. It's not shocking to me that you don't know what that means.
We'll take care of you. But for real, like we'd love to see you in person. You deserve it. Like you'll have been working hard for 10 months. And I just think, international, it's challenging. I know it's getting better. I mean, Fern's literally traveling the world this year for affiliates, but it's hard when you're in another country and the community's not as strong amongst affiliate owners. If you come here to AffiliateCon, this is for anyone listening, like being in a room with 500 other affiliate owners is game changing and life changing. Because you're just like, oh, we're all in it together, and you'll see that.
Yeah, I'll put it in my diary and then I'll speak to
Ted,
Rick
come
and
on,
see what we can do.
You got 20 minutes of this coming at you. Come on, you got.
Are you standing up on stage as well?
Yeah, we got a real comedian, not just me.
Yeah, Saturday night we're gonna have. There's a legit
Eddie
like,
Ift.
Eddie Ift is coming in to do a show, and Jay's gonna open. He can't get his lights to work in his room, but
His battery lasts for exactly 1 hour.
yeah, because he doesn't have a power outlet in his closet down there. But no, it's gonna be great. Like we might announce the full speaker list within like a week or so ish.
Put a little
Hopefully,
pressure on me. Is this what we're doing, Vern?
yeah.
He's flipping it on you, Jay. That's what
We got to. I'll give one away. We just got a confirmation. Kelly Surratt's coming back this year, both days this year. So Kelly Surratt, Mobility Wad, and the Ready State Ted.
Yep.
Did you say you were getting Greg Glassman as well? You said on the first call.
Did I say that? I did say that. Why do you gotta say that for a Fern? Why you gotta make me look bad for a Fern? We're working on it. I don't want to guarantee that. It would be great to get him, but we're gonna do our
That
best.
picture that you took of your butthole, Jay, and Greg will probably do it.
No, but we got. Fern and I talk daily on this, and the speaker list is top notch. It's gonna be
It's
great.
really good.
Is it a full weekend? Is it?
Both days, Saturday, Sunday, but anyone that's thinking of attending Friday, we haven't gotten the timeline perfectly, but somewhere around noon, we're going to have a half-day event with 5 speakers. Marcus, your buddy Joel, Eamon about AI, potentially Adam for finance, and then we're working on one other, Miles, public speaking guy. So the Friday VIP is like an all-encompassing, like become a better owner day, and then all weekend long, 6 amazing keynotes, 5 different breakout opportunities. I mean, amazing workshops going down. So getting some really good speakers.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool. I'll put it in the budget.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's a perfect thing. Like, put in the budget and then make it happen. We'll show up for you. How old will you be this year?
37.
Oh, even better. I mean, that's a big one. That's a really milestone. 37. You got to be. That's like come to the U.S.
Yeah, that's a big birthday.
We'll wrap up. What's one U.S. thing that you've never done? Like, what's something American that you've never experienced?
The one thing that I traveled America when I was 22, and and it was during the season. The basketball was basically on strike. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
2012 was it?
Yep.
2013. And I was dying to go to a game, and it was on strike. I'd love to go to a proper NBA game.
Is October the season, Fern?
It is. Dallas Mavericks probably have. I don't know if they have a game in that weekend, but we could look it up for sure.
Look it up, Christian. And yeah, 37 is a big one, Jeff. Christian's gonna find out. Hey, I'm sure we can convince Fern to go to a basketball game. They'll probably let him in for free.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We all know each other.
Fern, that's Fern, the guard from the Navy Academy, Naval Academy,
the Navy Academy
Navy Academy.
from
do you
sailing
got?
camp.
Are they home?
Let's see.
Mavericks. That's
Where are they at the American Airlines Center? Is that right?
we should just be able to tell.
Let's
It's like
see.
I'm looking
if
it
you're
up.
looking at the schedule, it's home or away.
Just type it into Claude. Claude will know.
That's a great.
That's a good
great
point.
I
call.
googled it.
You play basketball, Jay?
Yeah. They got a game on the 16th at 7.
That's
Ooh.
That's the Friday. That's Saturday,
Friday night
dude.
at 7. You can make.
Who are they
you
playing?
can make that work.
You can make it.
Who
Yeah,
are
who are
they
they
playing?
playing?
They're playing Atlanta.
Is that the Hawks?
I'm impressed you knew that, Jay.
I
I
was
am.
what's
I
his
expect
face? Dominic Wilkins.
Look at this guy.
Wow,
Look at
that's
this
crazy.
guy.
I'm impressed.
Back in the '80s, I watched sports. You know.
Spud Webb.
To answer Ted's question, no, I'm 5'3",
Yeah.
Ted. You know this about me. You know this. I'm not a basketball player.
Hey, listen, we could put together a group. We'll all go to the game.
I guarantee if you put it out there, people will.
Jay's paying for box seats for everybody.
I got Ted. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
Love
all
it.
right.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really pumped if you make it, dude. It's gonna be fun. We would love to meet you.
Okay.
personally.
I need to get on a call with Ricky anyway because I need to sort out my YNAB. So I'll ask him on me YNAB meeting.
Sweet.
There you go.
Well, Ricky and Kim will be there, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
Cool stuff, Ted. It's been great chatting with you, Spud Webb. That's right.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate that.
No, you're doing
Enjoyed
the
it.
work, and that's why like it wasn't a hey, let's just have Ted on because he's funny. It's let's have Ted on because he's funny, but also he's doing a great job and
Crushing it.
it's noticed. Just we want to make sure we tell you guys we see it. So keep it up.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks very much.
All right, Christian, take us out.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.